One of them is about suicide. I took it from the top of a building in downtown that I've actually stood in. I don't think it's trying to get attention. It's just a cry out for help, basically.
One is a picture of my house shoe. It's laying on a piece of paper, but my point was I had some complications one night and the ambulance came. Well, we got there and this lady, she said, I've got 3 beds coming right up. And she looked down and she saw my bags and she said, oh, that's the lady from the shelter. And she said, it's going to be a while, like trash. That's how I really felt.
My project is about how veterans become homeless, right? Because it's a federal system within our government, within the VA system. They send us over there to fight, right? But after the war is over with, they don't need us anymore.
It gives people a way of expressing their experience that can be visual or written.
You see people on a daily basis, but you don't know who they are until you actually sit in a project like this and listen to their stories, which is, most stories are very meaningful, you know, so I've met a lot of good people in this Voices and Images group.
I think that all of us have worked hard on our stories. I always said, even from day one since I took classes, if I can just have, they can hear one voice, my voice, any voice.
Yeah, because people don't know, like people don't pay attention. All they pay attention to is other things that are meaningless, when child abuse is a big deal to me. And so is suicide, you know, because I've passed through all that, so I could relate, so.
Well, it started when I was 17. I met a girl and I knew that I was gay. I come from a really religious family, so it was harder for them to kind of accept that I was gay. So I just threw all my stuff together and I left, and I was homeless for a few months. I would say about almost 3 months.
I'm gonna be open. I had a good job. Started smoking synthetic marijuana, but it was killing me though. I ended up in the hospital 6 times in the emergency room. But it was killing me though. That stuff is bad. It's bad. And my wife threatened me to stop or she was going to leave me. And I woke up one morning, and she wasn't there no more.
I grew up in Colorado. I went to school at the University of Colorado. I ended up in the Army. I was in the military for 10 years, got out. I was working. I lost a couple of jobs, a situation where there were too many people and not enough money, so they were just cutting people. I did have a little bit of money that left over. I stayed in a hotel over in Juarez for a few nights. I spent a couple of nights in the bus station.
My story actually started nearly 10 years ago. I was in a very severe domestic violence situation. I was put on a train, sent here because I could be protected. I was actually homeless for 9 months. The first, especially 6 months, I lived in fear of my life every day. If I seen a camera, I run the other way because I didn't want someone getting a picture of me.
I've been homeless since I was 13 years old. I've been in and out of shelters, and I've been in almost every shelter in El Paso. You go back to the child abuse. You don't want to be in the house where people are doing stuff to you, so you run.
Cuando yo vivía en una piñatería, entonces dormía en el piso. Mi patrón me llevaba a su casa a bañarme. A veces batallaba, no era de todos los días. Iba a una lavandería a lavar ropa Gastaba más en ella que en lo que ganaba. Recogía mi ropa de un bote de basura.
I've been here for 8 months. I came from Florida. I was actually living in the woods in Florida in a tent. You find a way to survive in the streets, you really do. I mean, eating out of garbage cans, I've done that just to get something in my belly. Walking all day on your feet hurt, but you know you need to do it because you got to survive for the day, you know.
Experienced homelessness because of my ex-fiance and I split up, and I'm the one that got tossed out. Let's put it that way. Living on the streets is tough. It really is. Especially for a 51-year-old woman. You know, I know it's not easy for the young ones either. But the young ones can get around a lot better than, you know, the older generation can.
After my mom passed away, I didn't know where to go. I mean, because me and my family wouldn't get along very well. You know, I mean, my mother was what held the family together. Right. So, but after she passed, you know. So somebody was telling me about Opportunity Center.
Back in 1989, I ended up down at the Rescue Mission of El Paso. Working at the Rescue Mission and working on a degree in social work showed me the plight of the homeless, and that's sort of what focused me on this work. The winters were hard. In the year that we finally were able to set something up, 3 people died on the streets. But there was need of a place where the homeless could come in, especially during inclement weather, to be inside, and as a place where we could get to know them. And so the plan was to develop a large resource center to allow them to come in, begin to know who they were, and see if we could help any of them get off the streets. In 1994, we were able, with the help of the community college and various churches, especially University Presbyterian Church, we were able to put together this facility. And what we did at that time was just open the doors and let everybody in. And we averaged about 150 a day in those days, and it's still pretty much about the same.
I stayed here one night at the Opportunity Center. From there, I went to the TLC, which is across the street. I stayed there for 3 weeks, and then they moved me to the SRO, which is a single room occupancy. It was like all these good things were happening to me. So I also volunteer at the Opportunity Center next door here because they helped me out a lot.
Estoy en el Women TLC, un shelter para mujeres solteras, sin hijos. Empecé a estudiar, cambié un poco de vida, me chequearon físicamente. Y hasta ahorita sigo teniendo ayuda de mis consejeros.
It actually started with people believing in me. When you're dealing with domestic violence, you feel very worthless. Initially started with having a roof over my head, a place to sleep, a place I could lock the door and know I was safe. I am disabled, so they helped me get through with the Department of Assisted and Rehabilitative Services. They didn't tell me what to do, but they gave me options. And one of the options was to return to school, which I did.
The VA has been great. They drove me around the city, you know, from one place to another, from one interview to another. Sometimes, you know, that's a big help.
Pues prácticamente yo creo que si no estudiaran, pues creo que todos estaríamos en un hoyo, todos los que no estamos en una casa. Sí, de por sí hay unos que están así, tan atascados en una sola cosa. Pero pues prácticamente uno se tiene que amar para poder salir adelante aunque no existan estos lugares.
Everybody has different experiences. Everybody has different needs. So There's not one service that can fit everybody, but there are quite a few services that I think sort of fit the needs, the most important needs of the homeless population. The first one being mental health services. Those are just they're lacking in El Paso completely, not just for the homeless, but for everybody.
We need people who cares. That's what we need. We don't need no people who just out there to get a paycheck, right? And they got a lot of that at the VA, right? And you can see this. You go to the VA and you might talk to a doctor or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, right? And you get a good rapport with this person, right? And then they make you an appointment to see this doctor again. And when you step in his office, there's a new face. Right, now you pour your heart out, and it's not easy to do sometimes.
I talked to a couple veterans that they don't even know they have benefits. I told them to go to the VA, start, go to benefits and get this. See, because the VA doesn't advertise your benefits.
Service that I think is really important is immigration services. We've been seeing a lot of progress in that recently, but it's just lacking as well. There's a lot of people that don't have any kind of status right now or are undocumented.
I'm from Juarez. I was adopted, so when I was 6 months, they never fixed my papers. So I've been, ever since I could remember, I've always had a hard time. I could never find a job because I can't work. So you have to do all this under the table stuff, and then they don't want to pay you. You can't go to college unless you have a type of visa.
A lot of people who have been homeless or are currently experiencing homelessness have a lack of education.
There is a loss now of government money, which I'm extremely worried about, because one or a group of agencies cannot support the work and the caring for the homeless without the funding from City Hall and the state to make that happen. Right now we don't have any of that money, and if we cannot find money in other directions, there's going to be a cutback of services, and potentially it's going to make us close at certain times of the day because we can't care for the numbers of homeless people that we have.
That was the highlight of my life. I never thought I'd be a master at anything, but it was a very big highlight for me. The only sad part is no one got to come see me graduate. But life happened.
I've been struggling for several years, trying to find a good job and get all my bills paid. So it's been something that's been kind of eating at me little by little. Not as much, I'm trying to help myself. I'm also trying to help my son, as much as possible, so that he won't have to, experience anything like this.
The health is important, because I see people with alcohol problems and mental problems out there. And now that I haven't done that, I feel healthy, man. I made a decision. It's time for me to quit. That's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm gonna let my pride lift myself up. Okay, I'm getting my voucher, the hot voucher. I'm getting my apartment with my wife. She's gonna give me another chance. I'm working right now part-time and everything.
It seems like I can't find a job. I've had many applications out. The reason why is because of the question of having a felon. I have a felon from like 8 or 9 years ago, and I went to apply for food stamps. I can't get food stamps because of that felon, because it's a drug charge. It seems like every application I put in, nobody's calling me. I have to sign up for lunch or dinner. If I don't sign up, I don't eat, so. It's hard, but I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna give up until I do get a job. A lot of people, I believe, are scared of us. Don't be scared. We're human beings just like you, anybody. We feel, we cry, we go through a lot of things that people don't even know we have.
People who are experiencing homelessness tend to have little to no voice, and people don't give them value. So the policymakers have to hear them one-on-one, to see what their experiences are. I think it's important that we stop passing useless ordinances that discriminate and marginalize people who are homeless. They don't deserve that, and they also need more help than putting them into a corner of the city and pretending like they don't exist.
La gente no nos trata como basura, nos trata como realmente nosotros damos la cara. O sea, si nosotros vamos por la calle, aunque vayamos bien vestidos, pero vamos dando vergüenza, pues ¿qué le vamos a entender a la gente? Que no valemos, que no servimos, que no servimos para andar pidiendo dinero. No, o sea, se trata de que aunque vivas en un shelter, vivas en una calle, vayas caminando como la gente normal, eres una persona normal. No eres alguien que no valga la pena. Somos gente común y corriente, valemos, tengamos o no tengamos dinero o no tengamos papeles. Somos igual de importantes para muchas personas.
Hey, don't give up. Don't give up. Especially don't think about suicide, because that ain't gonna take you nowhere, right? And I know some people who talks about it. If you have to walk around, you see a church, go talk to someone.
I want the society to realize everyone's one paycheck from being homeless. And that's something they don't realize. They can be one of those people.
I'm not saying that there's excuses, but there are situations that happen that they don't understand. So I say it's a positive thing to let people know, like, well, my name is so-and-so and I'm going through this because of this and that, and nobody helped me, and I do need help. I can't do it on my own. But I think people would come together and maybe find solutions. I don't know, depends on people.
I think we're all just trying to work together, trying to make this a better world. And I think even people that ignore or look down on homeless people, I don't think they're bad people. I think sometimes there's no communication. People don't talk, people don't understand, and
I'll share with you my poem, Home Free. Where are we? This is my address. Where do we stand? Well, farewell, just us.
I'd say that I'm outgoing, I'm a people person, and extremely passionate.
I'm serious, I'm thoughtful. I guess a word would be like a melancholic.
I'm a hardworking individual, and I'm a very open-minded person.
I'm funny, I'm humble, I'm very grateful.
Soy muy practicadora, me gusta convivir con la gente y soy muy sensible.
I'm a caring person, and I'm pretty confused about a lot of things that's going on with the military.
Resilient, survivor, and hardworking.
I would say I'm different. I'm super awesome, and I'm creative.
Mannerful, big-hearted, and giving.